If a magpie happens to fly in your garden, an ibis will be guaranteed to follow in its penguin-shaded suit. A little bit of leftovers, a few small portions of bone and fat to crunch will soon attract our avian friends flocking in a backyard for miles around. I praise the Lord to catch a sight of them before they take flight and disappear on us again. We seize the treasure of these cherished temporary moments, enjoy the pleasure of each other's company as we sit and watch these twittering kindred. Is there a fly in my ointment? Life beyond my disappointments? How should I respond to such a beautiful display of God's handiwork? I find it impossible to not rejoice, to be so blessed just to be alive and have these marvelously designed, intricately complex creations dependent on me in some minuscule measure, though there's plenty of us willing to take them up on the offer to distribute tasty morsels from their hands to their big seeking the kick of their lovely trill. Why, it's music to our ears for sure, and we hope it shall endure forevermore, like the love we have for one another, like the passionate affection which our God directs towards us. You speak to me through winged creatures, tiny and large. It's mind-boggling to me how you've crafted them all differently with a seemingly infinite variety of songs. We are lying to ourselves if we ever say we've got nothing to listen to. We can just tune into the splendid radio of the birds, giving glory to their creator with their sweet hymns of praise. This orchestra of dazzling visual and aural delights, it captures my attention to view the myriad of colors on their feathers, some invisible in direct sunlight. When that solar torch is focusing its angry hot gaze on their backs, beamed straight in their face, revealing to us a vast array of interwoven feathers. By the greatest tapestry maker in the universe, I love the way he has knitted us all together, and mostly for the fact he's redeemed us from hell's curse. Now some of these birds will be turned into overcoats, pillows, stuffers, or purses. It's a beautiful thing, knowing my freedom was purchased by the blood of Jesus. His love gave me a whole new lease on life. His joy should be clearly evident in the way I spend my days. See how the twitches gather beneath the bough in stunned amazement, their melodies lingering in their memory. These hopping clans which amuse and entertain us so, and unchaining us from the struggles sown into our sighs of discontent. A flutter of wings suggesting urgency, domestic disturbances requiring God's heart surgery. The best physician is coming to our rescue in our time of need. Our hearts imitate the birds going aflutter as they clutter up our backyard. A busy menagerie, clustering choruses filling the air, flood our minds with tranquil music. Our foe has been vanquished, so we will share the reason for this bunch that livens up our steps. Life doesn't have to be as difficult as we make it out to be. Thieves may flee the scene of their crimes and have been known to return, but it ain't necessarily so that they most definitely will. No pill shall cure our nightmares, but our Savior can bring peace and harmony to the gathering storm inside our Christ's blood-drenched heads, baptized by fire and water. Visualizing evidence for our architect in nature's elements, he has a memory greater than an elephant. We don't have to change the gospel just to make it relevant. For those who are disenchanted, saying they've heard it all before, perhaps they haven't progressed through the Word of God slowly enough to take in everything that is passing along past their eyes. Letters marching in time as readiness scan on a continual journey to becoming a better man. It's funny how an electronic chirp of a ringtone can mimic the real life sound of the genuine bird life particle. God to assemble the particles. Envision this copycat situation and probably had a good old rollicking laugh about it. We were ignorant little punk kids, not thinking our carelessly spilled seeds would crop up amongst the flower beds, revealing themselves to be the choking menace of flower neck strangling weeds that come into a place and take it over, doing more than letting their presence known or happily coexisting, but aiming to destroy and replace all that was there before. Herds of locusts are different. They do not occupy as much as they preoccupy our minds, dwelling inside our psyche far longer than they linger, for they move on when there is nothing around for them to gobble up, like most birds do, unless their wings are clipped or claws are bound by shackles, chains, and rings. What brings us past hung-drawn conclusions? What takes us beyond the delusions when grandiose illusions do gleam in front of our eager peepers? I get swept up in the protests of parrots, the curiosity of caterwauling cockatoos, their fluffy heads bent sideways when hanging upside down, their flexibility and dexterity inspiring my hilarity and stunned sheer amazement. Such aerobatic technique to rival the most adept circus-trained professional, being ever so careful where they place their feet. Little birds flapping their wings and tapping their claws to the beat which won't pause the pulse of the universe, glorifying our Creator. All beings large and pipsqueak, offering sacrifices of worship each in our own beautiful, unique way. But what if we have fallen astray? Is there any hope for us to come back again into the light? Of course there is, if we don't despise the days of pinprick-sized beginnings, though Mother Bird may have booted us out the nest to fend for ourselves, learning the hard way how to fly in midair, speedily downloading the necessary information in our minds. You can't say that's not a miracle. That these precious fluffy bundles of joy don't instantly hit the ground, smashing their brains in the dirt. Do not sorry for eternity over these eggs that never made. Do not sorry for eternity over these eggs that never made it. Just a cracked up pool of blood trapped within the shell, forgotten by all but Mother, biting tragic dust. Yet our God, He weeps for every loss of life. Though He does approve of animals being consumed, it was not His plan from the get-go. For this world was made without sin or the ability to die. Hear the cry of the birds, are they happy or sad, sane or mad? Some say if you're singing to yourself, you must be crazy. Would they be game then to throw a lovely nightingale in the loony bin, just because it comforts itself with ancient tribal rhythms? Is it these avian warriors calling each other to vicious war against the enemy, to protect their territory from being taken over by a familiar feathered foe? The hummingbird amazes me most of all, the rapid pace at which it beats its wings, or the woodpecker's drilling capacity. It has me in a quandary. Perhaps the road crew were inspired to replicate its enthusiasm in their concrete and earth-boring machines. Standing on the bowling green, this luscious grass I couldn't pass, pausing to admire the author of Dewdrops. You are swift and strong enough to shift the weight of sin that easily entangles my being. The troops are ripe today, ready for our consuming. Why should we be griping and fuming? We were not duped by tricksters selling us a lemon, pretending it's a quality item when it's secretly lacking essential components. How low must we stoop just to get through that crystal door? Do we even know what all of us are fighting for? You are the one we love and adore, whose mercy endures throughout the ages. Scrolling through history's pages, this joy is so contagious, I just can't keep it to myself. It seems outrageous to me how so many people turn their backs on God to their own detriment. I know this faith walk is difficult sometimes, but iron sharpens iron. In sweet fellowship we purge each other of our doubts and fight to keep our hopes alive. Taking confidence you are returning soon. I hate to be the source of anybody's hurts or disappointments. Sometimes you just got to keep on marching forwards. As long as you know your heart's right with God, everything's going to be alright. Don't give up the fight to save lost souls through the power of music, art and words. Through a little exuberant dance, through the inerrant infallible truth of Scripture, through the picture of love, joy and peace He daily pours out on us. How can we demonstrate the depths of His affection to the world? That He would love us even when we still called Him stranger or enemy, that He would even want to die for us. After all we've done that's contemptible in His sight, mutilating Him beyond recognition of His human identity, yet never of His kingship. For us, sovereign always oozes class and distinction. He distinguishes Himself as a gentleman. He relinquishes the hold the enemy once held over us. His Holy Spirit fire will never be extinguished from our hearts, though not all of us believers may know how to tap into it. How to go deeper with Him. So we are swimming in His love and nothing else matters to us. Just locked in the chambers of His grace, feeling the warmth of His embrace, forever abiding with us. That's why tears stain my face quite often these days. I'm just jubilant over the fact Christ allowed me to breathe another day. It doesn't matter how I spend my 24 hours. It's never wasted if I spend it honouring the Most High with everything I say and do, even in my secret thoughts. Why does my refusal to display corruption on the outside make other people uncomfortable? I could also ask why I personally find it so difficult to summon up enthusiasm even when I get what I want for Christmas. I'm going somewhere I desperately want to go. The one I love comes back after a long time, and what do I do but hide that bubble of joy behind my weary lips? Yet when I was passed for the first time by that girl, I just had to jump for joy and do my happy dance at the train station. When you meet somebody for the first time and they let you kiss them like that, it has to be the miracle working power of God operating behind the scenes. I don't care what anybody says. There's nothing that can convince me otherwise. I know when I am the king of all quick contributions to conversations, and I make her so uncomfortable. She wants to run away, but is too polite to refuse the opportunity to stay. Still, though my questions disturb and upset her, she decides to stick around. Is it 'cause that she's got nothing better to do, no other way to while away her pleasant afternoon? Or is it perhaps something deeper? God and his angels working on my behalf to keep her by my side, to hear her cheery laugh. When can I give up hunting, Lord? I don't need permission to pursue, just to slip that ring on her finger. If I am a traditionalist, I would approach someone other than you. To bless our steps towards each other's hearts is all that's necessary. A solid shared commitment in the eyes of God, in the blessed presence of church roofed witnesses, or under the shelter of the Most High in the open air, in beach or bush settings. The divine painter did good today for sure, striking the sky with his brush just right. These gentle touches lighting up our lives, knowing what to keep in and what to leave out, bringing us warm winter rains in our season of drought, cooling our brains when they get too head up by regret, assisting us in avoiding linking the past with the present. Comparison never being helpful or healthy when it comes to love, when reflected in the sense of the negative, not the positive. Approaching our compatibility potential with optimism, regardless of how much we may or may not have in common. The only thing that counts is how deeply our hearts are intoxicated with Jesus. Are we absolutely besotted with him, or is our love just a passing fancy, gone with the motion from one trend to another? When serving him gets too hot to handle and we face punishment, banishment or imprisonment, how much are we willing to suffer for the sake of our love for Jesus? How often do we gag our mouths when we should speak up, and vice versa? Lord, give us the right words to say in every single moment. Let us keep our ears open to your voice. Let our eyes be blessed enough to witness your miracles every day. Not that we have the time to watch every baby being born, yet we know that's evidence enough. Though the waters of life get rough and our path along the side of Zion Mountain may get treacherous, with plenty of hyenas willing to pull us off the righteous anointed road ahead, all that we fear and dread pales into insignificance compared to the light of eternity, that heavenly prize for which our spirit groans in a language no expert can translate, being beyond our normal understanding of speech's utterance. Head, take over your body. Flush out all impurities within it. Christ redeem us from ourselves. We are so skilled at pulling the wool over our eyes, denying we have a problem when our hearts are clearly bleeding like our spidery sleepless eyes. I approach your throne sheepishly, knowing the power of life and death is in your awesome God. You provoke me to meditate deeper upon your precepts, take seriously your law, and revel in your humor as well as rejoicing in your provision for us, guiding our decisions when we are perplexed over whether to turn right or left at the crossroads between two options that both appear to be blessed by your hands. Can only one lead to your face. I love the innovative way you designed this world, so creative in how you manufactured our DNA out of pure breath. I do not wish to subdivide my life. Possession and ownership of it belongs in every part to you alone. Though I may try to grab it back again, I'm pleased you refuse to relent to my demand. When I plead, just go away from me forever. See you remain, turning my damn load of sorrow into a river of life and joy I can't contain in an ocean-wide bucket. Phantasms of sarcasm leave my wit broken in the chasm of diverted purposes. I don't know what possessed me to rip that koala bear cub off my finger and give it to someone other than you. Now I wonder who that might be rapping on my door in the middle of the night without owning a key except to my heart. Could you be the one I love until the day I die? Do you hear my spirit cry for yours and mine to be entwined around the divine things? Branches twisting and turning, mingling together, crossing over and under. If you lost your thunder, I pray God brings it straight back again. When the rain and the sunshine occur at the same time, does it inflame your tongue with fresh passion to rhyme? Get a little grime under my fingernails. Is it a crime if I spare you the gruesome details of my day, treating you as more than just a dying piece, more like Dom Perignon on the mantelpiece, pouring out my love on you, wishing I knew what it is that keeps you from coming back for more of my company? If I'm jumping the gun, I don't care in the slightest. Maybe I should be checking in my boots, but I'm far too into you to allow anything to turn me back right now. Despite my intended destination for my gift not remaining exactly where I planned, it worked out better, winding up attached to a screeching brat I didn't have feelings for. Those I adore from a distance are often better off keeping a vast cavernous gulf between us. I believe it's God's causing my larynx to imitate Zacharias freezing like a toad placed in the cooler. I can't get the words out. Is this foolishness or wisdom to watch my speaking apparatus get tangled up in knots? It's got nothing to do with red jumpsuits. I'm glad I finally met somebody who gives two flying hoots about me. I think you know I fancy you. Still learning how to keep things chilled, struggling to not get carried away, revealing the fact I've got deep, passionate feelings for you. If only you were the one I was wandering around the mall with instead of my homies I know in some ways that more proficiently than certain crucial members of their own families. Yet still I found myself trapped when my big fat mouth lands me in a slimy pool of trouble again. If only I knew how to diffuse bomb-like arguments while simultaneously hammering the point home that a cranky disposition just reinforces others' misperceptions and preconceived self-deception over what provokes other cultures to lash out, misrepresenting the whole person. Starting to question what's my motivation, cause I lack the alarmingly disarming, charming charisma that seems to come with the territory for certain individuals. Why have us humans gained so much notoriety for perpetuating selfishness? You can be my one bright glimmer of hope in this dark and gloomy world around me. When I can barely keep my eyes open, I'm clinging tightly to my beautiful dreams of you, wishing it all come true. I get how it might be a nauseating experience for you to chill with me when I don't pick up everything you say, and I have been known to shake and shiver like a latte addict. But even without that crucial morning hit, I thought I bits on you. Yet I need to be strong enough to help you sweep up the pieces of your broken paper heart and sticking them back together again. Why do people like to contort their bodies into various, I can't believe they didn't practice something positions? I wouldn't be that kind of dude. I tried to change who I was for the love of you. I can't afford to be judgmental around you. I'd hate to put you off me just because I act too forceful or parent like I'm trying to get you to come round to my point of view. I think you can see the danger lurking in the shadows, people pretending to be cool with just being friends so they can lure you back into the hellish cooking pot. Looking all sweetness, innocence and light, you're not pleased unless you are their malleable little Play-Doh puppet, but you slipped free of their chains and strings. You woke up to who you were meant to be all along, more than your culture, your hood, skin, or upbringing. Deciding for yourself to chase a relationship with God instead of learning truth by right, forced to never divorce yourself from God's sanctuary. Share your tiny box of frustrations with me. Perhaps if you talk them through, God might help us stumble across. God will help us find solutions even regarding to those events yet to occur before they become obstacles in our path. How long is it going to be before that old volcano flares up again within us? How do we plan to handle it when we find ourselves fuming like a couple of angry dragons or feeding cats in a bag? Why do we often blame everyone for our mishaps but the mirror view when there's no one behind us but invisible yet invincible Jesus? It's never in the heat of the moment when we put our experiences in other speech bubble content under the microscope, examining more closely the precise reason for the animosity they express towards us in ways subtle and obvious. Feeling guilty about all the service people, I felt the need to rush along unnecessarily. This isn't usually like me. I don't want people to hate me, but I don't let my fear of what they might think stop me from sharing the fact that Christ loves them enough to lay down his life for them. I'm floored by your supernaturally influenced generosity. I'm not sure if it's supposed to make your money bag groan when you empty its contents. Isn't it a progression that comes as a result of knowing God, that we don't even question whether or not he wants us to dip into our pockets and hand over that tasty delicacy prepared for us by our beloved folks? Are we going the extra mile in our evangelistic efforts, going deeper into what it means to truly follow Christ with our whole hearts? Though our reputations may be tarnished and our nails are far from polished or varnished, still we are more than a garnish, playing second fiddle in importance to the main dish. In God's eyes we are valuable, we matter, even though the world may ignore our potential. The grand potentate saw fit to revelate his truth for us. When people get their braids all up in a twist over whether or not our Redeemer exists, despite all the evidence contradicting their sworn statements, I wouldn't mourn the death of wishy-washiness on behalf of our populace. I see amethyst in you, resisting you was never an option or possibility for me, though I stuck you on the back burner because I wasn't prepared to see past your struggles to the God-honoring individual you were. Now you started to take him a whole lot more serious. I'm delirious in love with you. What is it about your cute as a button face that drives me crazy, or the fact you're not afraid to face danger, putting your life on the line just to postpone a buddy passing through to the other side of dawn prematurely? I bear witness to she who is heroic to a fault. How do you prevent someone committing suicide? Let your heavenly Father and Mother be your God. Yeah, I provide for all my needs. Get down on my knees and intercede for those who can't afford to pay the cost of room and border of faith. Everything in the world these days, apart from salvation, costs a fee. All debts have been relinquished on the year of Jubilee. In what region or ballpark would you place your figure? Must I pull the trigger on myself just to get your attention? Say from wherever got in my mouth, if you ever took notice of me, I shouldn't go jumping to the wrong conclusion that you were the one to stick around until the day I die. That you are determined not to go anywhere, though I may push you to the edge. How many complaints must I deal with? Is there even the faintest of hopes that you might consider me worthy of your focus, even for the most minuscule amount of time, be my diamond gem? We are denizens of this world, but citizens of heaven. A humble place can never be replaced by sky-piercing high-rise apartments. No one would willingly hire a lie, especially if it's against their own best interests or sound judgment to do so. Yet some people are motivated by greed to do just about anything, even run little kids over in school bus. What could push anybody that far to gain delight from their snapping bones and bursting innards? What kind of sick and twisted monster gets to rise out of this? Do not assume there is always someone who thinks the wrong thing about what you do, who is out to get you or determined to criticize you in an unconstructive manner. Why do pretty petals recall a spectacular face, eyes sparkling like the radiance of the sun as its rays dance amongst the ripples of the river, flittering about tiny pricks of glowing amber, scampering up the side of a cliff. Am I beginning to drift back again into my Savior's arms? I never minded if you interrupted my slumber. Your voice and face were always far more interesting than my dreams anyway, so fascinating to me your every move, leaving me in awe over the power of God working through you. There's never a dull moment with you. I know I'm not approaching you with the exact measure of honor and respect I should. I can't just go down to my grave, blaming it on those scantily clad video girls. I always said the option of changing the channel. I didn't consult the panel of experts, talking over the static in my brain. Empty cells where my lover used to be, lying in the dying echoes of the eve. I only grieve at the thought of losing you forever, not my own life. For death merely means if I the route to heaven. The only tragedy is if I waste my life, allowing all this time in my hands to slip away without using it wisely. I am responsible for all the idle words I permit to slide out between the grit of my teeth. Let fire not be involved in my child-grilled comments if I fail to commit to you in the way that you deserve. Well, who can I blame but myself if I perish from this earth without holding you close like a ventricle is to an aorta? I'm sorta into you in a heavy way. You're like the most impossible solution to a crossword puzzle I thought I'd never get. There's no need for me to attempt second-guessing you. I will leap to your defense like an angry frog when anybody starts stepping at you or undressing you with their eyes including me. Unless you decide to sign on the dotted line and call me yours as I do you mine. Reclining me down by the sea, nothing is finer than your company. Our grand designer did his best work of you, honey. I think the result is quite remarkable to view, extricated from my ribcage. My missing policy, and you will find a love that never fails to thrive. They can say what they want about me, but they better not insult you if they know what's good for them. They should keep in mind to pay you only compliments when they darken your threshold with the Oreo thoughts. I was hiding in the hedgerows, trying my best not to get caught. Why would anybody want to be addicted to anything but Jesus after they'd been redeemed from my life that offers no hope or promise, that didn't get broke before it grew its wings? Creative individuals, the two of us. Does that mean we ever clash and bump heads, choosing when to agree and let it slide for the sake of a lasting affection that never dissipates with the passage of time? Reaching your heart appears to be a slow and steady upwards climb. Did life sell you lines pretending they were Limburger? Are you limber enough to scale these fences, barbed wire? Lay down your defenses around me. I'll go on the offenses to keep your pensive, intense notions at bay. Like dogs on my spice when they enter the fray, attempted to push through your cozy nook door. I trip over my own tongue more often than not, in the search for significance, engaging in interaction with my most magnificent distraction. There's a passionate attraction between us. If only I could banish your concepts of corruption, connecting themselves to you in my mind. If I only possess the ability to see the good in you and was completely blinded to your faults, regardless of my tendency to perceive what needs changing in others. I am blown away by your dexterity when it comes to expressing the joy given your help by our life breather. It brings me limitless comfort to know you'd receive me with open arms and never deceive me or throw me down the drain when I reveal my foibles before you. Let's see how we go with interacting with each other outside our blissful dialogues. The river of words flowing between us at our leisure, able to pick up where we left off whenever we want. You are my treasure, I'll cherish the pleasure of your love forever. May our ties never be severed. Oh, how I contemplate the very touch of your hair written in mine. When my face is all leathery and worn, when this last layer of skin is being shorn, will you meet me on my final morn and sing a praise song to our Creator with me? I will shade you from the pain of the world as much as I'm ever able to. I will hand you my heart for safekeeping, knowing it is insecure hands of you. I don't see you dropping its fragile frame anytime soon. Let's boogie woogie under the sparkly silver moon. If we could bend spoons with our minds, we wouldn't waste time doing what we currently participate in, knowing we could make it involved elsewhere, unless there's a divine man that keeping us here. The biggest thing I dread is insecurity and loneliness. In my hours of loneliness, I hear the beckoning of the one who reconciled me back to his arms. Stay with me when the night lingers on and fights me so spookily, whispering to me, you're gonna wake up, made enough. She goes to explore us of a soul, to explore over soul, window shut tight. Paranoia is a most unbecoming trait in senior citizens or junior panhandlers. You will always preserve a remnant of the faithful ones. Why is it you continue to shower me with so much love? I am yet to figure it out, how to diffuse disagreements without displaying disloyalty, how to prevent nasty arguments from breaking out amongst us, harboring discontent. Can we cease the disputes, please? I want to be driven around without having to worry about whether my next breath will be my last. Can we guarantee with absolute certainty we are speeding along the highway to heaven or to hell? Cause enduring this manner seems far too reminiscent of a torture chamber to me. Getting far too close for comfort to my end of days. In my dreams I'm dead enough out of here. Not just a speculator any longer, but an active participant amongst those who've just gotten bit by the travel bug. My fantasy becoming a reality when friendship offers the possibility to go somewhere other than the island of visions lost in gate. These human remains are in desperate need of your sweet love and company. It doesn't compute to me. I'm terribly excited at the thought of being united with the source of my enlightenment for the earthly portion of eternity's timeline. A black sheep need not be an outcast. The trials of this life we shall outlast. Set in a ship of the desert, camelback riders heading onwards towards happy trails. Though we fail, we succeed more often in life, cause we got a Savior always by our side, guiding us with his holy light till they turn us over, spotting the whites of our eyes, dilated pupils, rhyme skills used for your will. My skeleton stripped of all fleshly ornamentation. For once there's a pronounced distinction between us. But we have far more similarities. Don't consider chilling our me to be an act of charity. How are we gonna survive keeping our morals intact when the ones we once looked up to are dead and gone? Unless they teach us to think for ourselves, how are we supposed to chase hard after Jesus when we haven't truly internalized his truth and applied it to our own lives? Just let it fester, nestled in the back of our minds, our fruit grown rotten from neglect. Why did we treat the ones we love with disrespect? Can we learn how to talk through our different points of view? Allow them all to be expressed without getting so hidden and depressed. What does success even mean if you're a king without a queen to share it with? If you're rolling with me, do you want to be more homie? Can we date exclusively? Be so much more than merely besties. How did we become so stale in our effectiveness? Caring more about protecting ourselves and standing up against the evils of this world. I know the mode of operation used by my nemesis, throwing all these beautiful women at me. In the meantime, the ones whose hearts I'm hunting don't want to know. Am I fool enough to almost convince me myself? This interest proves she's real. So thrilled by the chase, but not knowing what to do. When I have her standing right in front of me, I get all awkward, childlike, and trembling, stuttering with sputtering speech. My lips are being guilty of uncleanness before, but the good Lord resided in heaven above and simultaneously within the hearts of all those who make him boss refuses to let them stay that way. He washes them in the purifying solution of his own precious blood. Crimson river flowing over me, preparing a table before me in the presence of my enemies. I don't mind if encouragement only flows in one direction, cause my Lord and Master keeps spurring me onwards. I'm convinced my static delivery will be the death of me. half-open eyes, slurring my monolithic mammoth-like monologue. We are only dialoguing if I catch your eyes communicating joy. I hate to waste the film in your camera, but digging chicks and rats' tails, you leave me guessing exactly what the gender is. Please don't sever me swollen, full of pride, yet rendered numberless. Now the embers are lit, I'm gonna toss my own self in the furnace. Don't think I ever utter anything just to get a rise out of you. Failing to see reason, wasting my time, attempting to break through this foggy wall of confusion. Seclusion is beneficial to me. I can be alone in a room full of bodies that don't want anything to do with me. And it's not necessarily the way I like it, but I've grown more comfortable with silence. Being the usurper in your midst, self-cannibalizing like my previous production didn't exist. Stuck on your glass window with suction cups, wondering what's up with this world and all its rumbling conundrums. Whistling echoes of yet of another time, passing through our eardrums, that ancient rhythm calling us as we pass through the melody. Somehow you strangely mellow, mate. We must be good to our fellow human beings. It's a real humdinger of an afternoon, pushing hard to turn back the tide of yet another endless tirade, induced by God knows what exactly. An innocent suggestion, a question of intelligence. The most obvious candidates seem to be avoided like a plague of locusts attempting to steal your focus all of a sudden. He sings these parables for wooden ears, never willing to hear them out. Why should anyone truly adore me or do more than merely tolerate me? Is my ego too overinflated to expect a rapturous applause every time I open my jaws? I'm cracked and broken, wrestling with my flaws, flowed by the twisted logic of a psychopathic wit that only cares about preserving their own bottom, careful not to enunciate anything controversial, yet conversely finding no problem with the filth they stick inside their eyes and ears, quick to criticize and condemn others in denial of their own moral meandering, seeing a villain in anyone but themselves, perpetuating a culture of victimhood. Do we enable or disable the progress of a cranky machine, steamrolling our individual expression? Is there any getting around over or tunneling under this mighty mountain? Lord, I know with you all things are possible. You help me adjust to frustrating situations outside of my control. I'm not so obsessed with having my own way that it's having my way or the highway, no options. Yet some suckers get me twisted. I'm thinking I'm trying to force my will on them when truly I'm just trying to make this world look more like Jesus. That's mostly what concerns me, not merely lining my own stomach or loading up my empty pockets. I keep a facing a hard-shaped locket that I wear around my neck, collecting ducats to nab those bargains as soon as we stumble across them, flossing with my peeps, trying to avoid a dodgy bullet like obstacle or giving them grief. I never meant to be a stumbling block to anyone. I feel my words become more violent, stretching beyond the influence of my immediate environment. Paranoid, I might be the next to get paralyzed by fear into losing my cool. Snapping off the dragon's claw just before it pierces my jaw, prized loose by its sharp lash. If only I was a little less quick to crumble. My belly rumbles at the prospect of spending a little more time with you. Why am I so hungry and thirsty for you? Why is it such an intense, furious struggle for me to control myself around you? You stretch out your arms wide enough to embrace the whole left. Why do I feel like I'm willingly dragging myself in between the sluicing gates of the tiger's teeth? The prefer our interactions, the less likely we are to stumble in a bizarre territory. Where did all this baby mama drama come from? Is it part and parcel with having offspring? I'm minding your manners around those of others. Catching myself dozing off again in the middle of an exam. Terminate my friendship if you must. I never want to germinate from its dust. Please don't treat me like I'm full books out or upper crust. Treating others with respect and dignity is an absolute must. It's hard to maintain my nonplussed demeanor when somebody's mother is fretting over what happens to their daughter, as if they are a lamb being led to slaughter, needing to manufacture a super speedy escape route. As much as she hates the mucky puppy nature of kids, she secretly longs for them to stick around when they disappear temporarily, imagining her tranquil surroundings being interrupted by disturbing screams. Hard to curb my enthusiasm, creativity, accustomed me spasmodically at its most grandiloquent. Why is our happiness so fleeting and transient? Our foe of woe will never be vanquished this side of heaven. I am famous for affection. I feel perhaps with needlessly excessive anxiousness protruding from my wounded psyche that I will push away everyone I love in the end, due to my reluctance to stand up against injustice, especially when those wheels are spinning round in seemingly perpetual motion as the earth rotates around the sun. My head swivels round to face you, who I have disgraced with my debased behavior, laced with arsenic, my acerbic wit, as bees and tiny finger-sized birds do flit amongst the hydrangeas, daffodils, and tulips. I'm dreaming of a time when I didn't make people blow up in smoke at the slightest spark fuse. Heaven is an offer I can never refuse to fuse. In the ticking time bombs of confused minds, which grind my bones to ashes, left in the cold outside, gnashing my teeth, shuddering in the still night air. A frosty breeze blows through my veins. The strain of living beginning to take its toll on me. It beggars belief I ever could play the role of chief, lacking the guts to enunciate my aggression, yet alone pluck a tooth out the gum with a dim-witted shocking edge in need of dental surgery. This world is in a state of spiritual emergency. Do we feel the urgency if I needed to spread God's love? Must all our friends switch loyalties, become his enemies, perish needlessly in across this eternity? Before we wake up to the essential herald insisting that we get on with the job, never knowing the exact number of days God has given us, pushing out amongst the populace of Mary terra firma. Creation confirms the evidence of God's existence. How can we resist his royal approach? Why does it boil my blood to see a woman being victimized by violence, totally lost to himself about what motivates his actions? It's not other people but the devil. We should be irate. Any of us allows ourselves to be his pawns. Get informed at the various locations out front, delivered by heaving trucks to fish and chip shops. Stopping the contents of my mop bucket all over the kitchen floor. Never sure how to make a linoleum himself is properly shining the way God intended. Are we truly initiating the last 11 new creation? Is it only when we're rolling in the greenbacks like a happy pig and mud that we're given out of approval, declaring our praise to God, permitting him to exist when everything is going exactly the way we want, down to the very last detail. Perhaps my freedom needs to be curtailed. Pull his little book about his tail. I was beached like a whale, stranded and struggled in a brief, and when I found myself over water instead of deep down under it, artesian basins had in a vast bathtub available for the aid of our digestion. Given the right tools to extract it from the ground, I can usually be found lying in bed or pounding my head against the brick wall. What is it that causes a little baby brought away to bust his brains out and inflict pain upon his own mother, creating conflict, tossing random objects like strawberries and plastic hammers out of head? Could he perhaps be imitating the behavior of his daddy, or am I putting two and two together, coming up with five? Can we truly say love is allowed between us if we only point out the ugly in numbers and never focus on the beauty, charm, and grace we all possess, thanks to God's abiding presence? Overdosing on responsibilities, getting stressed out by increasing demands upon my feet, back, and hands. For one fleeting moment, I'd like to catch a glimpse of the approval of heaven, 'cause it means so much more to me than merely getting the crowds moving. Watch me smoothing over rough stones. I wasn't made with tough bones, but God in me could still slay giants if he's half a mind to killing them with their own sword, severing heads from bodies, transforming a melancholy moods to hopeful, joyous, less obnoxious and odious to God's nostril-like ones. He wants us to be in intimate fellowship with him. Although we know our thoughts, he wants us to read our thoughts back to him, examining those he has dictated and that which hails its origins from a former sinister locale. He was nailed to the cross so his will might prevail in our lives. We often strive needlessly. We worry our brains into tangled balls of rope knots. His blood will never clot. Oh, how it flows for those of us who lost the plot. Thinking ourselves robots, just doing whatever we're ordered to. Success is the best revenge, not all this backbiting and fighting. I prefer igniting my own skull and sitting on babies right now. But God gives us the power to accomplish what we're not capable of, merely relying on the strength of our own weak vessel self. Delving into this dark latrine-like pit, spitting obscenities. My shadow self seeks out fresh ways to obliterate my innocence. Incandescent beam shining over me, pointing towards a distant destination we are yet to reach, and we will only do that if we practice what we preach. I'm done leeching up others' generosity, piggybacking on the coattails of their popularity, borrowing personalities from the London Library. Lacking one of my own, I feel the need to get alone. I haven't flown the coop just yet. I couldn't swoop lower than the boa of regret. scoop my brains out my skull like ice cream, placing them in your more than capable holy hands. If only I knew how to prevent these tiny little accidents from occurring in my life with alarming frequency. Jesus, I can feel you stirring my spirit to action, refusing to allow me to remain bogged down in yesterday's remorseful and exceedingly regrettable activity or lack thereof. If only we stay true to our basic distinctions, not allowing our ointment to be flawed in the objects and people we applaud, nor in the permits of those disposed to impose the agenda of the instigator of a positive change upon themselves. The creator of the universe who redeemed us from the Lord's curse. If we would but walk in obedience to his will, we would be so greatly blessed in fullest measure instead of trying to run our own lives. A puzzle why we strive to comprehend the depth of our friends is not the end for them, never is it for us. We have to see we have the capacity to be set free, though it may not be our cup of tea to take a vow of chastity or celibacy. We don't need to exercise a degree of self-control in our own lives. Know that God has his heavenly bodyguards in patrol, marching in the mulberry trees, fighting hard on our behalf. Let us obey the decree of our mighty loving creator God. You can't forget in his presence. He knows the contents of your character and heart. He has set us apart from the rest of the world, called us to be his troops. Holy soldiers salute. Don't be you victim of Babel's Institute. You know I ain't stupid, no, that good at this self-discipline and self-denying thing. I've still gotta find the joy in giving up as much as I can. Everybody and everyone understands you're getting something new to hold in your hands. Stick down your throat, on your eyes, in your ears, or slip over your skin. I'm corroding, I'm crumbling. How much am I slave to my rumbling tongue? Keep rolling with my homies till God's kingdom come. Should I make myself available any time of day? Everybody wants my time, but nobody wants to pay. I feel want to show their appreciation in other ways, like the motherly, fatherly, sisterly, or brotherly towards me. I am in one for nothing, cause my God supplies on my needs, according to his riches and glory. I want to tell the world about his story. Lord, restore me into the person you want me to be. Let me never be guilty of blasphemy, neglect, apathy, or heresy. Let me represent the rich heritage of my ancestors, that firm foundation of faith you build under our feet. Our roots in you go down real deep. It hurts to think of everything I've sacrificed for the sake of love. It's like a roll of the dice. How much do you gamble just to get a handle on the risk? Hot like a candle that you take whenever your soul is wide awake to the possibility of affection. Can our minds embrace the concept of a life controlled completely by Jesus? I submit my soul to your will. You are the prize that consoles me. What I'm running for, not a runner's up race by any means, but the ultimate goal. The one I have been searching for my whole life, feeling I got shaped hole inside my heart, choosing to ignore deliberately the delaying and distracting tactics of the enemy. All that having no luck could gain in a lifetime is but an inkling of misprinkling of the vast treasures in your storehouse. If only I knew how to turn these mouths like tendencies inside of me into a line, tear myself away from the timid approach to life I've known for far too long. Some people seem like a broken record, always ready to put up the jukes at any given moment, and anything you say to them, even encouraging words, appears to be wrong, even if it's quite the opposite. I'm trying to figure out how I can bring this hurricane to a halt. Gratefully, I don't have to figure it out. Lord, I love the way you bring peace without us even having to do battle. Anything to try and stop the stump and swallow in our spirits. What happened to that enthusiasm we once had for Jesus? Stir it up in us, Lord, stoke the kindling, stack those tender sticks high within our hearts. You can get it lit for us, I bet. If it wasn't for you, I'd have nothing worthwhile to discuss. It's your miracles and mercy that keep me going. Though I'm far from worthy of the blood you spilled for our redemption. None of us are exempt from death or taxes, even after we quit working, or if we never do. Our goods and services are being delivered with a cut, taking the stick in those government coffers so they can feed it back to us in rainy day emergency funds, relief efforts for disaster situations affecting us, building hospitals, prisons, and schools just so they're good affecting us, naturally resulting from a conscience stabbed in at the side of suffering. His heart of compassion bleeding all over the universe. For the sake of a little lost child, his eyes gushed rivers of sorrow till they found their way home again, sheltered by his loves and arms. We are being seduced by the charms of the world, but God won't allow us to remain confused forever unless we choose to abandon His guidance. Then only we are responsible for the suffering that follows, walking contrary to His will. Not all of us are meant to have families from our own exhaust state. Some of us were always intended to merely remain part of God's body. If my legacy is but the words I leave behind to guide His sheep, let it be so, Lord. If I lack the inner strength to settle for one woman and commit myself to her for my whole life, but I see it's possible for others to surround me. It's simply a matter of putting you first above all else. Then all the pieces of the puzzle will fall into place. I can't honestly claim that I'm doing that yet. I still have to figure out what the future holds for me. Jesus, I'm living exclusively for your glory when my heart is all caught up like puree. And I'm like an elephant with a grudge, raging and fury, knocking over any tree standing in my way. And you are found a love that's lasting and enduring. Thanks for continually assuring me you're never going anywhere in a hurry, unless you travel with me, tucked inside my heart. I feel your glory manifesting constantly all around me. Please won't you enlighten me? Why do so many things frighten me? Why would anyone cut off their nose to spite the face? Don't just embrace people when you feel like you're in a sunny mood. When you're depressed and feel like punching someone that you need to press deeper into the labyrinth of love, losing your selfishness in that warming glow that comes from time spent in the presence of the Almighty. Though I may be a little flattered, you set on my nerves, ignite your holy fire in me. Messiah, let me hold you closer. Please don't dispose of me. Though I may let my morality become comatose. Think I took an overdose of self-absorption. Allow the distortions of the world to mess in my head, pulling me over the edge. Let me not throw in the towel in my time of grief, and you will find eternal relief. The quickest bunny-eared solution isn't always the best one. I know I started this morning out wrong. I got distracted from the heavenly song, joining amongst the throng, throwing your precious heart in the billabong, and releasing my fingers scraping at the walls of this tower of confusion looming over me. They try to distort the truth, unknowingly or intentionally sabotaging a lifetime's worth of witness. Why do we get scared when it comes to the fight? We allow a lot to get down by the roar of the maddening crowd. You bring times of refreshing to my soul, plagued by stressing over so much nitpicking. Instead of hiding in the corner, licking my wounds, I will get out there and fight for the right of my Savior to be heard. Let His truth infiltrate every word you speak, causing you to respond in ways someone to make. Instead of lashing out in hardiness and despondency, I'm rather fond of the concept of living my life completely sold out for Jesus. Do we care more about pleasing the crowds or blessing your heart? Deviating from the norm is what is to be expected of me. Swimming against the tide, going in the opposite direction from the current flow. I don't want to let you go, but I push you away each and every day when I don't give you complete authority to rule and reign over every area of my life. I have to decipher your secret messages, scrambling my brain cells, inducing my own headaches, attempting to crack the code of your algorithms, prevent the schisms of the enemy from occurring in our lives. We know all his tricks and schemes. We know the devious ways he tries to sneak up behind us and drag us back to where we came from in the tragic moment. Magic vanquish pit of disillusionment. Suddenly the realization dawned on me I was never meant to be initiated and indoctrinated into the mindset of my soul's ultimate nemesis. What is it about me that forces the creature known as self to exist on the family? I believe we should all learn to get along, but not at the expense of our religious beliefs. Not being expressed because we fear to tread on any toes. If we struck a run of a hit a funny bone, approach too close to home required drastic change in the lives of those being influenced by us. If only that nugget of wisdom could filter through the conscious mind. Break out its sub-realm. The manifestation of a paranoid replay, locked up in the looping stream of a slumber. I didn't think I would ever have this blade hanging over my head as I lay down on my bed. I thought my reputation was far more well preserved than that. Now they're looking at me daggers whenever I approach. I wasn't giving anyone the evils, just examining an interesting sign, trying to figure out for myself who was playing. Why was I staying inside when there was all this beautiful real estate to explore? Do we only treasure the celestial when our days on earth are declared to be no more? They can take us to another dimension, switch our focus and attention. We used to get detention for talking over the top of the teacher in class. They didn't care too much if we interrupted the mind flow of our fellow students. What an elitist approach! Of course, the exception was oral talks where you were marked on your voice projection as much as the contents of your speech. judged by the quality of your eye contact or total disregard for it. Plenty of us play God without even realizing it. I love it how the best poets are those that don't even bother trying, and the rest of us are made up of those who are completely apathetic about lyricism, and those continually attempting to squeeze and mix for a last drop of juice in any given human situation. I don't talk like normal people. I don't blame you directly into someone else's conversation with the beans inside or out of their own head. Why do I dread the future so much when I know what's in God's hands? Do I bury my head in the sand when it comes to love? Do I put way too much faith in those who don't want anything to do with me, mistaken just bringing friendly for a position of deep affection towards me, despite my prior convictions? I wasn't locked away inside her heart. They told me I was sick, so I went to the doctor and he gave me a prick of a needle. It was sharp, didn't mean to smell your cup, dangling at the end of your hook, playing a hop. You see, I do this for a lark, even if I miss a mark. I don't get any more proficient in full out or off the dock. I was always more adept at shucking duties and engaging in work, especially when it involves sweating out an excessive elbow grease, where one has never ceased, not as long as God exists beyond the point when the earth we no more endures in its current form. We could have a little picnic in the park, take a leaf from the book of the ants, where they feast every day. Just be careful they don't chomp our butts with their tiny micro-sized black teeth. We will be so much more comfortable if we have a little more room to spread out and sprout. It makes me so frustrated. I feel like hitting my head against a brick wall until my brains come shooting up my skull. When I stand there helpless watching as a good friend becomes a victim of senseless anger yet again. Where is all this cancerous like growth of needless venom spewing, spraying coming from? It doesn't seem to take much to make the time bomb tick. Watch it go, boom, then explode. The volcano's blooming, lava and hot magma over our last hopes. Dreaming of a tranquil landscape. Duct tape my mouth, cause it doesn't seem to be all that productive right now. I thought an injection of positivity might lighten up the situation somewhat, but it still seems so dark even in the middle of the day. I am dragging my load of worry like a worn-out tray. I thought I might perish on this lonesome cross-littered highway. Thank God free their bodies didn't want to pile by the side of the road. Keep the younger prone away from even the most rudimentary weapon. Sharp objects of any kind are far too much of an attraction for them, causing their eyes to suddenly erupt in irate bursts of flames. Don't even give them cutlery, which they might use to pierce somebody's throat. This is just my fear talking. I know a father wouldn't slaughter his own son or daughter, not in his right mind anyway. I know a wife wouldn't slice open her husband's eyeballs with a cat-like claws, injecting poison directly in his jaws. Is the jaw shut and locked tight? Which held the secret of our hope? Were we fighting for a lost cause? Surely there's a ghost of a chance still breathing amongst us, that we might redeem the situation. If we call upon the name of Jesus, there is power in those two simple syllables, able to flip any situation, no matter how threatening it appears to behold. Behaving like grown-ups was never attractive to me. I only found making money appealing, not responsibility. Playing with fire, trying not to get burned, wondering whether it's ever going to be my turn to be loved, not just shoved in the corner and forgotten about by the entire female population of this planet. I know some of them want to be my friends, but I don't know how to take things to the next level or base. I seem to be an expert at disgracing myself. I could be replaced just as easily as an idling. I've got nothing special to offer, just a bank account, plenty in my covers, but that does me no good if she can move on to another neighborhood brother. And if I'm always getting distracted, attempting to discover happiness in the eyes of fresh, dizzy like ladies coming across my path on a daily basis, as much as I want to make her happy, I know gotta do some work on me in the way I relate to the opposite sex. Not allow sexual frustration to get the better of me. I know when I'm weak, but I don't always rely on your strength to carry me through, sweet Jesus. I know you are the stretcher that beds me aloft, do surgery on my heart. That's why you carried your cross, oh greatest of physicians. You're a magician at displaying your magnificence. I am laying down on myself just as I throwing them in the fire. I know the whole entire world wasn't made for my pleasure alone, but it's for your joy. We were assembled by your holy hands way back in time's beginning. I thought I could relate to this woman without sinning. Why is it when I look in a direction my head starts spinning backwards? Do you call this moving forwards to being so aggressive, like a hermit crab in a shell, dodging the aggressive bullets of the enemy. Every time I stick my neck out for the gospel, some new hellish minion comes along to slay me. It always starts with a little bit of curiosity, even though I know the dangerous road this leads down to the pits of hell, where there's no coming back again. Lord help me, I found the finishness in my friend. Sometimes we do the devil's job for him without even realizing it. We don't recognize the power we play in fulfilling the will of his sinister plots. We may claim to love Jesus lots, which may be true, but not when we lose the plot and give ourselves another Lord and Master for a temporary moment. I'm a ballerina dancing on the edge of a snake pit. Watch me living, watch me teetering and tottering, wondering what kind of Sasquatch mentality will come along and destroy me next. I was still living and breathing the last time I checked. The devil hasn't completely obliterated every last remnant that thought of me yet. I'm still devoted to Jesus, I just took a back step. Yeah, I know I missed the mark, fell short of God's glory. In the end, Jesus continues to remain my friend, giving me victory. Even in this moment when I'm crestfallen and blubbering with remorse, I don't want to be the same with me no more. I know I fell off my horse, I can get back up again. I won't surrender to the pain. Of course your heart, I hate to be a drain on your time. Jesus, please rule and reign in my life. Even if your edict is difficult for me to follow, though my head may appear to be completely hollow, cause I continue to swallow the lie. The enemy so sweet and syrupy that just a little bit of sin in the here and now isn't gonna have the consequences of doing me eternal damage, but I know it does. It's worse than being caught by the feds, cause the fact I'm guilty or innocent is not determined by an earthly court, by the heavenly one. The final verdict resting with Jehovah, my potential judge, jury, and executioner, who chooses to take the punishment I deserve if I am willing to accept his forgiveness and acknowledge the part I played in nailing him to the cross with my sin. I'm making excuses for my many errors and mistakes. I know it breaks your heart when I treat you with contempt, ignoring your warning sirens, blaring loudly in my eardrums. How close do I have to get to the edge before I fall off it? I'm not fixing to toss my salvation away at the first sign of trouble. My imagination is definitely a battlefield. I yield it to your control. Elohim, please save my soul from the excess muck that pollutes this world. I fell in lust with a party, my stranger, who strips my spirit of all its goodness, purity, and innocence. I am contemptible in your sight for even contemplating giving into the abomination of your truth, causing desolation to my being. If only I could dislocate myself permanently from temptation. Yet if you did that, I wouldn't be truly loving you, cause I couldn't possess the power to choose to resist if I truly wanted to. I know you were giving me robustness and muscularity beyond my natural ability. If only I would be like the acronym of frog and fully rely on you to complete the picture. Always as the missing piece of my puzzle for how I'm gonna open up a door of escape from the situation which traps me and slaps my face. I won't stay down beneath the enemy's feet. The sand is running out of the hourglass. We can't afford to be discreet about the faith we possess. We gotta be true soldiers of righteousness, even if it kills us. Resist those things that cause us to lose that intimate deep place with God, as well as plenty of sleep. I know you speak to me more when I live in obedience to your will, following your voice. You guide me to make the right choice. Help me pick up the pieces when I cease to approach my next potential decision with fear and trembling. Disassembling the consequences of my actions ahead of time, stepping outside my situation, seeing the potential for victory or disaster in each choice. I'm causing to grow flesh and bones and come to life right before my eyes. Can we help each other out in our moments of timorousness, pusillanimity, and ineptitude? Why can't I display a positive mental attitude when I feel like I'm in danger of opening up the bars of my cage? Butterflies only to invite them to a party inside the sharp incisors of a tiger's mouth. Those aren't stalactites and stalagmites above and below you, my fragile, dusty winged friends. They do not drip a Vesuvius waterfall or geyser, but the very liquid that enables aforementioned stripy faced chlorine fish jungle cat to roar and digest its incoming dinner. Do you see a widow or a sinner in me? Must I repeat the same patterns of behavior on innumerable occasions before I get the message that I can't keep living like a heathen and hope to make it past the pearl gates when I'm no longer breathing? Some days it seems I'm just barely breaking even. Thank God my salvation is not determined by my good deeds. I weigh in my bad, or else I'd never be qualified to call myself your child. It's only by some miracle of grace that I'm ever permitted to stand boldly in your presence, Dad, though I fall prostrate, overwhelmed, just contemplating your glory. Stuck hailing a cab in the middle of the night, cause I couldn't get a shuttle bus to pick me up after my flight. It doesn't help my struggle to be around people who tip me over the edge of reason, but I do need friends in my life, so I take the good with the bad and the ugly parts of them like they do with me. Even though they hardly ever see that side of me, I choose to keep well-headed. Not wanting them to know all my foibles and flaws, not wishing to become so vulnerable around them that they look at me as if they have extra vision goggles covering their eyes, displaying my insides on the outside. There are things about myself I would rather nobody knows but the Lord alone, and even with him I'm not comfortable, him knowing them. But I can't change the fact he knows everything, and there's no hiding from him. No matter how I may try to encrypt the script in my thought life, all of these dodging cars colliding, sliding, and crashing against each other's side in my mind. When will the chaos ever cease from me? Do I always remember when I act like a prodigal? I sin both against my heavenly daddy and my earthly one. Also, when my soul is run aground, you help me to change my course, turning my life around, back in the direction you intended for me to go. Why do I have to stoop lower in order to climb high? Why must I experience so much? I have hoped and dreamed for being thrown into the fire, so I can wake up and see the light of beaming, burning brighter in my eyes. You were smiling to keep on going when I'm down in the dumps about my future. Not certain that I have the aptitude and proficiency to rise above this great life mentality. There I go, disgracing myself again, finding it impossible to disguise my sorrow, wrapping it in plastic coatings of happiness and serenity. Meanwhile, turbulence rages on within my bones. There is a way out of this dark circle I have been trapped in, spinning in circles around a wheel that is far from infinite. I don't want to repeat these same patterns and watch them play out in the lives of my future kids. If I sow in tears, will I reap in joy? If I plant these poisonous mushrooms inside my psyche, will I yield a crop of cherry trees? I don't think so. Other people are being active for you, Lord. Why can't I fill stadiums being a beacon for your voice? Where is my healing ministry? Why am I having fits of jealousy instead of getting out there and doing the Lord's business? What is holding me back and making me so reluctant to be used for his kingdom? How did I get so callous and disconnected from this impacting on people's mindsets that's taking place? Breaking out in a cold sweat at the thought of fiery tongues licking at my soul's core. How can the world not be afraid? Denying the reality of a torturous place that cuts us off eternally from God, separated from his presence. That would be the worst thing, to have this wall between us and him. He cannot penetrate, because he chose to make the world that way. He can have no part in evil or sin. He can't afford to be anywhere near it, and neither can we. Develop a distaste within us for the things of this world. Let us only be satiated, satisfied with what pleases Christ. It gives me joy to see souls being added to your kingdom daily, miraculous events taking place, even if it seems as far from me as the stars in space are from the deep blue sea. I know it's my family in Christ that is causing it to happen, so I can be proud of the achievements of my brothers and sisters, rejoicing along with them, praying the seed that gets sown doesn't fall among weeds and gets choked at the first sign of trouble brewing near them. Brewing near. Let all conversion be sincere, not just following the crowd, but truly repenting and turning control of our lives over to Jehovah forever. If our shadows can heal, why isn't mine resurrecting the dead? It should stop being so lazy and do some effective work on the road ahead. I don't want to see it just attached to my legs, looking so useless, occasionally gigantic when cast against the wall. When I fully rise up, I don't give up and give the devil what he wants to see me administer his sinister toxins to the bodies of others. I am not his apothecary stuff. I don't mix with those who chose to surrender their conscience for Allah, who considered pleasing themselves to be of greater importance than serving our perfect God who willingly laid down his life for us. How can I not respond in gratitude and earnest praise of the Ancient of Days, who never quits fighting for us, our advocate before God's throne room on our behalf? I'm sorry I caused you to do extra pleading today, begging for mercy. Justice will be done unless forgiveness triumphs over judgment. I am bothered by a sin that seemingly refuses to release me from its grip. The truth is, it never will decide to let me go. I have to break myself loose. I have to tap into a power greater than myself beyond this world. Lord, be like Samson and break these shackles off me. Even if this building comes tumbling all around me as I push against these pillars with the eyes of my blind mind, we can beat the onslaught of cruelty with kindness, grinding our teeth together, left out in the cold. I don't want to be among those virgins whose candles remain snuffed out, because they didn't have the foresight to bring spare oil to give their lamps a light. I'm afraid that the thought I just sighted my body dust against the rocks. I didn't have a clue whether my socks would get spared from being tattered. All illusions have been shattered about exactly who I am, if not for the Lion and the Lamb of God.
The Holy Spirit dove-like swooping from above, claiming my heart. I'd be a shambles of a man. Did I open up another can of worms? What's some wriggling squirm inside my brain? I don't want to lose control again. There is not a hole deep enough to bury all my sin. Chained to my world-worn mind. Could you be the rocket that launches me into the atmosphere? Take me to another planet, cause all these pity-filled scenes to disappear. I don't want to wake up tomorrow and finish the day knowing I haven't caused a smile to be wiped off your holy face. I don't believe that caving into the desires of the flesh is an inevitable conclusion for me, because I've got you fighting alongside and inside me. Mighty warrior, take me over now. Saturate my soul with your pure, sweet love. Forget me not in the moment of my transgressions. Free me from the weight that tangles me in this oppressive heat. I hate the way I have been acting, reacting to my boredom and itching thirst for knowledge on what I should remain ignorant of. You know how to handle those facts. I don't need to be aware of what's going on in the lives of everyone in truth. The less I am aware of others' errors, the better. Especially when they influence me to be dragged to hell along with them. Heaven is waiting for me. If I just put my trust in you completely. If I don't allow lust to overwhelm me now. Peace out.